Good morning and happy Wednesday. You are watching the Big Agent Meeting. My name is Russ Lag and I am the Vice President of Training for eXp University. And I am super glad that you're checking in with us on our brand new Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time slot. We've officially moved the show to the middle of the week to give you the perfect midweek injection of momentum, strategy, and brokerage news just when you need it in the middle of the week. The calendar day might be different, but our mission remains exactly the same, keeping you sharp, profitable, and ahead of the competition. We've got an awesome show lined up for you today, so let's jump right into it. Here's a look at what's coming up next. First up, we're going to have It's Time to Step into the Laboratory for Lab Notes with CLO Brian Ellington, and of course, the king of YouTube lead generation, Levi Lascsak. We'll also jump in and check out a powerful One EXP update highlighting everything happening in the EXP Latino network. And then, of course, we're going to kick it over into our weekly brokerage brief with our Chief Brokerage Officer, Holly Mabry. And then finally, last but not least, we're going to check in with Alyssa Speck with her EXP University Spotlight to see what kind of high-level training we've got lined up for you in the middle of this summer. So let's kick things off. To see how video can completely transform your pipeline, please welcome Brian Ellington and Levi Lascsak with Lab Notes.
When I talk to a lot of YouTube agents, it seems like a lot of them start off gung-ho and they finally figure out that this is my platform and I go. And then over time, they're like, well, I kind of dial back my production. Actually, I think about it, it might have been a couple of weeks or no, maybe a couple of months since I posted my last one, which is, hey, listen, they're still doing well because of I kind of think of it as like the fishing line effect of YouTube, right? Each video is kind of like a line in the water with a separate hook. And they have a lot of them evergreen content that doesn't matter if that video was made 3 years ago, people will still click on it. But continuous content creation is something that the algorithm rewards. And so I'm curious, how can an agent getting into this or somebody who's dabbled, how can they be more consistent? What was your process for getting consistent and staying consistent?
It comes with the decision, first of all, and you've got to be true to your decisions. And with decision, then comes commitment and setting up a plan. Like part of my business plan, when I did my research, I also looked at my market. There was actually only 2 channels in my market when I started. So I saw some gaps in their production, but also that they were doing 1 video a week. And I thought, okay, well, if I'm ever going to actually even catch up to them, I need to double or triple that, because if I do 1 video a week, I'll never catch them. And so I immediately said, well, again, I had time on my side. So I said, I'm going to come out with 3 videos a week. Just to get momentum. Plus, that gives me more reps. It gets me creating content more regularly. So I get used to it and find my video legs, versus, trying to do 1 video a week. And then that becomes a struggle or a hassle or that's too long in between for improvement. But once you make that commitment, actually write down a plan of what you're going to commit to. Now, I'm saying if you say, well, yeah, okay, I'll do 2 videos a week, but you're not going to hold to that or be true to that, then don't do that. I mean, 1 video a week is better than no videos a week. And 1 video a week is better than 2 that you say you're going to do, but you don't do. So I would work with what can you stay consistent with. If you do kind of have a set schedule, mostly, then you should look for, okay, well, Tuesday afternoons, I'm just going to block that time and I'm going to make my video, or even I could even do 2 videos at once, for the following week. So if you can do that every single Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday morning or Wednesday afternoon, or maybe it's Wednesday morning when the kids go to school and you're like, man, my Wednesday mornings seem pretty quiet. The spouse even leaves and goes to Pilates or whatever. And, I actually have a quiet moment. That might be the time that you make that video. Now, the other side of that, and you stick with it every single week. And if you're going to go out of town next week or go on vacation or go to a conference, guess what? You need to double up. And then the other option is, like you said, if your schedule is changing all the time, which that happens for a lot of real estate agents, or it's very sporadic, then you need to sit down every Sunday night for at least 20 minutes and look at your calendar, because your calendar should be pretty set for that week. You may have to compromise here or there if you want this to be a real part of your business. And so for me, I haven't missed a week of publishing in 5 years. Now, that doesn't mean I film every week. last year, I spent 2 weeks in Spain. I spent a week in Cabo. I spent 3 weeks in Brazil. I spent a week in Puerto Rico, and videos published every single week on my channel, because I realized, if I'm going to Spain for 2 weeks, I got to make a couple of extra videos this week. I didn't say, well, I'm going to Spain, so I'm going to just take that time off, because again, that's the whole concept of passive prospecting, which is I make the video, now it's going to go to work for me. And guess what? Whenever I was in Spain for 2 weeks, leads were still coming in, videos were still getting published, they were getting watched, and the team was in place at home, so that also didn't lose that business, and I wasn't taking calls in Spain, I wasn't doing Zoom calls or answering the phone. The team handled all of that. And so that's an important piece. I mean, you can structure this and turn this into a real business. And I think that's what really passive prospecting is about. It's about freedom. It's like, why does everybody have the goal of passive income? Because ultimately that's a different word for freedom.
All right. Thank you, Brian and Levi. Awesome breakdown. If you're not using video to dominate your local market and build passive streams of inbound leads, you're missing out on the biggest leverage point in the industry today. And to keep YouTube in the back of your mind for later in the show, because we're going to talk about it a little bit more. Now, one of the greatest things about EXP is our culture of community and inclusion. Our diversity networks are actually a massive part of what makes this brokerage so unique and powerful. Joining us next to share some incredibly exciting community news and growth strategies, let's throw it over to EXP Latino.
Good to be back on the Big Agent Meeting, guys. I'm Cameron Cisneros, manager of One EXP. And for anyone new here, One EXP is our community infrastructure where agents find their people. Over 16 different resource groups, 20 countries, built on one idea. Belonging is the ultimate business strategy. And so today I am super excited to bring on our Latino network. But before we dive in, I just want to shout out Pride Month, as it was one of our strongest yet. Every network, every agent who showed up, thank you. Thank you for being a part of our incredible event. And if you missed the finale, you don't want to miss this one with Amanda Miller and our CEO, Leo Perea, who closed us out with an incredible fireside chat that is absolutely worth your time. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure to go check it out. And so for today's spotlight, we want to talk about the Latino network, one of the fastest growing communities in real estate and one of the most consequential. In 2025 alone, U.S. Latinos attributed to over $4.5 trillion to the U.S. economy. Standing alone, that would make them the 5th largest economy in the world. They're the number one drivers of household formation and attributed to over 100% of homeownership growth alone this year. So if you're not paying attention to Latino Network, you are already behind. So without further ado, I'm super excited to bring on our incredible chair and co-chair, Rachel Need and Rebecca Soto. Take it away, guys.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us today. We're really excited to be here. I'm here with Rebecca Soto, and we wanted to share just a little bit about what EXP Latino is, who we are, what we're building, and some ways that you can get involved.
Hola familia, saludos a todos. Yes, we are so happy to be here. EXP Latino is a community inside of EXP Realty, and we are created to connect, support, and elevate Latino agents and allies across the country. It's a place where culture, collaboration, leadership, and business growth are all coming together.
And with them coming together, I'm thinking about how we're building something that's just more than just a group here. We're building a movement, or a movimiento. We want agents to really feel seen and supported and connected. We want you to feel inspired to grow personally and professionally. And here in EXP Latino is the community for that.
Yes, that's exactly right. And sometimes our agents join EXP Realty and they don't realize how many powerful rooms already are existing inside of the company. EXP Latino is one of those rooms. So it is a place to build relationships, find collaboration, share resources, create referrals, referral partners, and grow alongside other agents who understand the power of community.
And speaking of community, did you know you didn't have to be Latino to be part of EXP Latino? We welcome not only Latino agents and their allies, but really anybody who wants to support and serve and connect with our community. So if you're interested or you have clients that may be in that community, reach out. We're the perfect fit.
Exactly. Everyone is invited. And yes, if you serve the Latino community, want to expand your network, want to connect with Spanish speaking agents, or simply be part of a positive culture driven community, this community is just for you.
This community is for you and it's for everyone. And one of the best ways to get involved in this community is to start out by becoming an eXp Latino ambassador. Ambassadors simply help us spread awareness. We invite local agents into our communities. You support us at events locally and nationally, and you represent eXp Latino in your local market, really getting our name out there and supporting the community in a meaningful way.
Yes, and we also invite you to join our monthly Movimiento Mastermind. These are the opportunities to connect and learn, collaborate, and to grow together. This is where relationships are built and where agents can really plug into the heart of what we're doing here.
Absolutely. And we also have in-person events. In September, we have a big event coming up in Las Vegas. It's the NAREP event. And we have this conference where we can get together all week. Of course, more details are coming soon, but we're really excited to have a physical presence there. And we're ready to connect with so many of you. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
I love that. We're at NAREP every year, and it's one of my favorite events. And we have such a presence there, and it's always wonderful getting together with our eXp Familia at the NAREP event. So we hope that you will get to see you there. We'll also have a special event coming up during eXp Con. So we'll be sharing full details as we get closer, but trust, you are going to want to be part of it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that. So 2 in-person events, monthly meetings. I think this is so amazing. And with that said, our invitation to you is super simple today. We want you to join the movement. We want you to join our El Movimiento. Just don't watch from the sidelines anymore. I want you to plug in. I want you to introduce yourself, attend the masterminds, become an ambassador. Help us to continue building something amazing for you.
Join our community. You can find us in the hub and also follow us on Instagram at eXp Latino Official. That's where we'll be sharing all of our updates, our events, our communities, and ways that you can get involved. So check us out today.
All righty. Thank you very much to Rachel and Rebecca for the update. The energy, the community, and the growth happening within the eXp Latino is absolutely amazing. Make sure you get plugged into their upcoming events. They are a ton of fun if you haven't seen one live and in person. Staying connected with our communities actually helps us keep our culture strong, but keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening operationally is what actually keeps your business protected. Joining us next to give us critical industry compliance updates you need to know right now, here's Holly Mabry with your brokerage brief. Take it away, Holly.
So there's a lot going on in the market right now. We're seeing a lot of good, bad ideas come from both buyers and sellers. And the reason I say good, bad ideas, well, it just depends on what's going on for that client. When we start to think about wraps and subject to, these are honest conversations that you and I need to be empowered to have with our client, because not every shoe fits. And let me tell you what I mean by this. So what's happening is basically with the subject to mortgage, the title transfers to the buyer while the seller's original mortgage remains in place. Now the buyer's going to assume responsibility for making the payments directly to the lender. Okay, great. Also, no new loan is created, but the seller could be legally obligated to the new note. Now the lender is kind of aware that this has happened. But with a wrap, this is when the title transfers to the buyer while the seller's mortgage stays on the property, and the buyer maybe goes and gets another loan for that property. They're making the buyer's making payments directly to the seller, hoping the seller makes their payments, and the seller maintains the responsibility of the original position. Now, this is what gets so crazy. When you start to think about how we communicate those very complex details, we actually wrote a form for you. And we've had this out for just over a year, but I wanted to bring it up again because when we look at sellers being on the market, maybe for 50, 60 days, they're having to come down in price. Maybe they're opening themselves up to, let's talk about what buyers we're not reaching. Or maybe you've got buyers who are like, hey, I can't qualify for a loan right now, but I've got really good income. Would you consider doing something along the lines of a subject to? This is where You and I have to use this form and make it very clear to both parties what their pitfalls and possibilities are. Now, when we use this advisory, what it really breaks down to is if the seller is considering offering a wrap mortgage or receiving offers on a wrap, and I know we've seen a lot of buyers going out there just throwing out these offers with a wrap or a subject to, using this form basically allows us to take a breath, take that pause and have a better conversation with the seller of, hey, I want you to go get legal counsel before we sign this contract, because if we sign this contract, basically you may not be able to cancel. And we actually had that happen. I'd rather be in a position where the seller is able to look at everything and go, I get it. I absolutely need legal counsel before I take any more steps. Now, the buyer may be totally excited and like, hey, I need to know. Y'all, this is where you and I hit the pause button and do what we do best. We communicate with all parties. We let them know the seller is getting legal counsel and they're going to review the contract. That's the best way forward. If you and I do anything other than that, it's problematic and it could jeopardize the seller. Now, on the buyer side, this is really important because a lot of times buyers are like, well, I've heard about these wraps. I've heard about these subject twos. I was on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube and I watched a 10-minute class. I'm pretty sure I know what I can do. A little more complicated than that. Now, can you? Of course. Should you? That becomes a different conversation. So how you and I approach buyers, it becomes, okay, what are you willing to take on? What are the risks and benefits? And so I thought we'd break those down for you guys today, just in short, to kind of help you have those better conversations. And it's more knowledge for you in your back pocket. Now, when I think about sellers, some really cool benefits for doing a wrap mortgage with expanded market research or higher selling prices, all of that, suddenly your buyer pool gets bigger. And that can be really beneficial depending on the marketplace you're in. You also may be able to draw a little bit higher price. People will pay a premium for a little bit less risk on their part, maybe more risk for the seller to assume. And also the seller could see interest income. So if they've got a note on their property, if they've got a mortgage already, they could consider a wrap and they would just need to make payments directly to their lender. Now, where it gets a little bit tricky is the capital gains taxes. And this is where I'm not going to play an accountant or CPA or even attorney. I really want you to encourage your client to go get specific advice on what their deal looks like, what their overall big picture is. Because at the end of the day, everything else is just noise. It's all about them specifically. Now, some of the risks, and this is where I want to pause and make sure that everybody's super careful. Most loans carry a due on sale clause. And so there is some risk that the underlying lender may say, hey, I see you transferred title. We need to get paid like that. And they could call the note due and the buyer can't qualify to pay the loan and they have no ability to do anything, but now they're on the deed. So the seller is stuck paying for a house that they don't own to make sure that everything is going on. So if your seller doesn't have that $100,000 or $200,000 or even $300,000 to pay off the note, that could be problematic. So you may want to look at your cash reserves. Now, the other thing you want to look at also is mortgage liability. The seller is going to remain responsible for the original loan. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, particularly if you've got a VA loan. Some of our VA loans absolutely allow for wraps or subject to, but what's interesting about that mortgage liability is the entitlement. The VA entitlement goes away. And so the seller now has lost their entitlement. It's tied up for somebody else. They can't turn around and go get a VA loan again until that original note is paid off. So a little risk there. And then, of course, if the buyer is late, if the buyer doesn't pay, all of those things, and you are relying on that money, it could absolutely damage your credit. Some increased costs, of course. Sellers often face, everything from insurance increases, property taxes, admin fees. And there's a really great way to do this. Like if you have extra insurance because you're no longer the primary occupant, you need to get renter's insurance. And whoever the buyer is, if the note or if the property's not in their name, they need to get renter's insurance. So that's a little bit tricky in all of this. Also, your taxes could go up. There also is a budget for basically if you have to recover the property, foreclosure. So those are some things to keep in mind. Does it happen? Yeah. But I don't want to go, down the dark and scary path. I just want to have an honest conversation with our clients. Now, when you're talking about buyers, it's an easier qualification. What allows to happen here is it's another viable financing, right? They can look at different ways forward. And if I've got a buyer with limited credit history or previous financial challenges, maybe they're coming off of bankruptcy, but they have really good income, there's some benefits there. Lower costs, yeah, they're not having to pay for that loan because it's already established, the faster timeline. We can see some of these closes within 30 days or less. And sometimes the terms become negotiable as far as that tailored payment structure where a buyer maybe is paying twice a month instead of once a month, all sorts of things like that. But for a buyer, I want you to think about this. If you've got a due on sale clause and you really want the house, you're living in it, you got to come up with the money really, really fast. Otherwise, you're out. And that's a problem. Also, if you're making payments directly to the seller and the seller chooses to just pocket that cash and not pay their lender and the lender forecloses, you're out again. You don't have enough equity or equitable title in that property. And then, of course, insurance challenges. So if there should be an issue with the house, maybe the roof gets blown off, or maybe like we're experiencing a lot of forest fires in the West, something catastrophic like that happens. Yeah, insurance may not cover you as the homeowner. They may only cover the seller. And so if you have damage to personal property, you may not be covered. So really understanding the nuances of insurance become really, really important. And future complications. So if you would try to sell or refinance before the wrap mortgage is satisfied, it could be a little bit of a challenge showing that chain of title. And this is where working with a really good lender or a really good title company, escrow company is going to be huge. And also the buyer should very much consult with an attorney. See, these are not for the faint of heart. It's really one of those where when you start to look at legal considerations, what's allowed in your state, what title concerns could you have? Could there be liens on the title that the seller goes and refinances and you're not aware? I mean, all sorts of shenanigans. And so how we take care of our clients is making them aware, disclosing to them up front, and making sure that we've documented it. It becomes really important. So let's talk about your best practices, because legal considerations, they're always going to be there. And my default is always, please recommend your client they consult legal counsel. Do it in writing. Do it in advance of them agreeing to a contract. It makes all the difference. So your best practices, always provide this advisory. If somebody's thinking about going down this path of either a subject to or a wrap, great. Let's talk about this advisory. And then facilitate that professional consultation. It makes all the difference. And then present all offers impartially. And this is what I really appreciate. You can have multiple offers. One could be a subject to, the other two could be cash, one could be financed. Present them all. Don't weight them. Give your seller a good chance to look at everything and understand what that means. And that's where the advisory comes in so handy, because you're not steering one way or the other. And then finally, like some key takeaways, because I love leaving you with action items. The client education is how we lead. Anytime we're looking to build trust with a client, it's how we educate, how we bring them into understanding the transaction, no matter how simple or complex it may be. And then also providing that balanced perspective. Who am I to say this is a terrible idea? No, it could be really great for some clients. For other clients, it could be so much more challenging that it doesn't make sense. But having the conversation makes all the difference, right? So if you and I maintain our comprehensive records of what we did, what we said, when we said it, how we advise the client to have better conversations with professionals that could advise on this kind of transaction, makes a huge difference. Now, I know we've got a lot of agents who like to do wraps or subject twos for their personal portfolios. Great. I trust that you have gone and gotten your own attorney. You are also vetting all of that, because this is the thing. When you and I have a real estate license, we're always held to that higher standard. That realtor hat never comes off. And so our good faith and fair dealing is required in everything that we do, whether we're representing a client or we are acting as our own client. It makes a huge difference. So please use the disclosure. It makes a huge difference. And I just want to make sure as you go out into the marketplace, you've got every tool in your toolbox. Hope this helps. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you very much, Holly. Always bringing us the clarity we need to navigate this market safely and, of course, professionally. So now, staying protected in your business is step one, but constantly sharpening your edge as a practitioner, easy for me to say, as a practitioner is how you scale your business. Fortunately, we have the ultimate educational powerhouse built right into this brokerage called eXp University. To see what's coming up, upcoming cohorts, upcoming systems, and upcoming playbooks that you need to be plugging into your business this season, I'm going to hand it over for the eXp University Spotlight. Take it away, Alyssa.
All right, guys, let's get down to business. What if one interview could completely change how you think about getting business? So earlier in today's BAM, you heard from Levi Lascsak. And if you liked what he had to say about building a business through YouTube, here's the exciting part. We didn't just interview him. We studied his system. So that interview, along with a bunch of other insights from top YouTube agents, helped shape our brand new course, Likes to Leads with YouTube. It's our pilot inside the Icon Lead Mastery series. Guys, if YouTube has ever felt overwhelming, or if you've wondered, like, is this even worth my time? This is here for you. You're going to learn how top icon agents use long form video to build authority, to earn trust before they even meet the client, and to create a steady stream of inbound opportunities. Guys, it's happening July 28th. If you are ready to make YouTube work for you, work for your business, instead of just your watch history, we would love to see you there. You can register on expuniversity.com. But we're not done yet, my friends. If your focus right now is creating more conversations, getting more appointments, do not miss out on the next FastCap cohort starting today, July 8th. FastCap, it is not about theory. It is about building the daily habits that create momentum. Over 6 weeks, you'll get live coaching, you'll get accountability, and you'll get a proven system designed to help you stop wondering where is your next client going to come from and actually start filling your pipeline with some confidence. So register on expuniversity.com. Guys, we'll see you there.
Thank you, Alyssa, for that fantastic university update. The amount of high quality expert level training we have at eXp University for absolutely zero cost is actually unmatched anywhere else in the industry. Make sure you take full advantage of our upcoming sessions. Make sure you register now for something that tickled your fancy. Before we sign off today, remember your feedback is part of what drives this show. Scan the QR code that you're seeing on your screen right now and take the NPS survey real quick. Let us know what you're liking about the new Wednesday time slot. Let us know what you loved about what we did today. And of course, let us know what you think we would like to do differently or like to see differently on the Big Agent Meeting. All right, so don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on a single update. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Following the Big Agent Meeting, serious agents are coming here. KGCI streams real-world real estate strategy 24 hours a day.
Lead generation, conversion, marketing that actually works.
Take it with you wherever you go. Download the always free Real Estate On Air mobile app for iPhone and Android, available now.